being completely honest, I feel like Tom's been such an asshole that I don't want to do business with him.
Gonna beat the winner, and then I'm gonna beat Jon Jones.
UFC heavyweight champion of the world, Johnny Jones.
I'm a king like LeBron. I got rings, got a turn like a gun.
Hello, John. I have nothing against you personally, but I just think I'm better than you. I just know that I can beat you in a fight, so I'm coming for it.
My mama spoiled me, no loyalty. They try and destroy me. Royalty. My mama spoiled me.
Come get a taste. I'm here. Get your belt back. I'll be waiting right here.
I just want to say to everyone at home, listen, if you ever get the chance to do something and you're scared to do it, you should definitely do it, because there's a chance it's going to pay off.
Somebody dragged me into deep water. I'm telling you, I want to feel what it's like. I want to see if I can swim or not. Jon Jones, if you can drag me there, take me there. Because right now, all these guys are saying it, but no one can do it.
It's just a big mouth who's hot today. There's been so many guys who's hot today who are just gone. You know, Sergey was in the same position not too long ago. Now he's starting to fall off already. I've just been around this sport too long. Give a big mouth who's hot today the opportunity.
Jon Jones is amazing everywhere. I ain't taking away from Jon. I think he's incredible. I just think I'm the best heavyweight in the world. There's no beef. Jon likes to try and send all this beef with me. I think I'm the best heavyweight in the world. That's it. He thinks he's the best heavyweight. I think I'm the best heavyweight. Let's see.
He's annoying to me, and that's my own personal. He annoys me. I get to you guys, you find it entertaining, but I find him annoying, and I just don't like him. And at the end of the day, if I give him the opportunity to fight me, I want to be so compensated. I want to say it, I want that fuck you money, honestly, and that's just what it is. That's just what it is. And fighting me gives him an opportunity to change his life forever. And I don't even want to give him the opportunity.
If you kick my ass in front of the whole world, I'm happy to put my hand out and go, listen, you're the better man. No problem. You took my dreams away from me, but at least I tried. But this ducking and diving is something that I don't really have respect for.
Jon Jones has two choices: defend his belt against Tom Aspinall or vacate it. Since he hasn't announced his retirement and is still considered active, negotiations are almost certainly happening behind the scenes. We might finally get the most anticipated heavyweight fight in UFC history. But let's be real, Jones doesn't seem 100% sure about fighting Aspinall. The question is, why? Is it about money, his legacy, or are there deeper reasons that could put his GOAT status at risk? Let's dive into the real reasons why Jon Jones is steering clear of Tom Aspinall and how this fight could play out. As we all know, Jon Jones is not a true heavyweight, as he fought at light heavyweight for most of his UFC career. However, after a lackluster performance against Dominic Reyes in a fight that most analysts believe he lost, the American laid down his gloves for 3 years to build up his weight for a move to heavyweight. 3 years later, on March 4th, 2023, he returned to action and was given an immediate title shot at the heavyweight belt in a favorable matchup against Cyril Gane. Now, Gane is an outstanding fighter, but considering that he is primarily a striker who was out-wrestled by Ngannou, Jon knew exactly what to do to defeat the Frenchman. He dragged him to deep waters and suffocated him. Some would argue that Jones didn't deserve an immediate title shot in a division he had never fought in before, but for the sake of argument, let's say he did, considering he is undeniably the light heavyweight GOAT. After beating Gane, Jon had a price on his head from his fellow heavyweights, including Tom Aspinall. The Englishman, on the other hand, suffered a gruesome knee injury in July 2022 and was out of action for a year. However, on July 22nd, 2023, he returned guns blazing against Marcin Tybura, dispatching his Polish counterpart swiftly and effectively in the first round. At the same time, instead of fighting Tom, who was the #1 contender at this point, Bones decided to take the easier path and pick Stipe Miocic, who hadn't won since 2020 and had been out of action for 3 years. This is the point where fans started to get pissed at Jones. While the American claimed that a win against Stipe would mean a lot for his legacy, it was clear that the former champ was not even a shadow of his old self. Maybe 5 years ago, it would have meant something. But now, beating a semi-retired firefighter whose last UFC fight ended in a devastating KO should mean nothing. That's almost like saying fighting Mark Coleman would boost someone's legacy just because he was the first UFC heavyweight champ. Anyway, Jones gets injured, and the Stipe fight falls apart. The UFC comes up with a plan to match Tom Aspinall on short notice against the scariest KO artist in the UFC at that time, Sergey Pavlovich, with the interim heavyweight belt on the line. Despite the danger and the short notice, Aspinall went toe-to-toe with the Russian brawler and showed his intentions in a firefight. They started swinging, but Tom's gun turned out to be bigger, as he sent his fellow Russian heavyweight straight to oblivion. The whole point of having an interim champion is to hold the belt until the real champion returns. And the first thing they should do is fight for the undisputed title. Jon Jones is still looking for an easy fight and wants Stipe Miocic. In the meantime, the Englishman defended his interim belt against the wrestling powerhouse Curtis Blades and is now ready for Jon's return. But guess what? Jon Jones still ducks the interim champ and finally gets a fight scheduled with Stipe Miocic, which, as expected, he won. When you consider everything, there is no other option for Jon now but to fight the rightful contender, Tom Aspinall, who, according to many, is the real champion. But for some reason, Jon Jones is still finding every excuse in the book to avoid the Englishman, making people question what could be behind that. Well, here are the main factors why. As we all know, Jon Jones has been fighting at light heavyweight, where fighters are drastically smaller than their fellow heavyweights. In almost every fight, Jon had the height and reach advantage in this division. His arm reach is a jaw-dropping 84.5 inches, and the only fighter who had the same reach was the Dutch giant, Stefan Struve. So, when fighting opponents like Vitor Belfort, Lyoto Machida, Chael Sonnen, or even Daniel Cormier, Jon never had to worry about the size discrepancy, as some of them had even fought at middleweight, let alone being true light heavyweights. And of course, his eye pokes, keeping opponents at bay while oblique kicking them, and effectively utilizing his elbows to dismantle them in the cage worked wonders for Jones. When he was matched against fighters that matched his height, Jon always struggled in their fights. Such was the case with Alexander Gustafsson the first time they fought. But the best example of why Jon Jones struggles against fighters who match his height was against Dominic Reyes. If you take a close examination of the fight, you'll notice that Dominic edged Jones in the striking exchanges, and according to many was robbed in that fight. But the point remains, Jon rarely fought true light heavyweights who could match his size in this division. However, that is not the case at heavyweight anymore, because he now needs to face fighters who are just as big as him and can also have the advantage in the artillery exchanges. Tom is 6 feet 5 inches, while Jones is slightly shorter at 6 feet 4 inches. Considering that he struggled against light heavyweights, imagine what a potential fight against Tom Aspinall would mean for Jones, who also has the nuclear option at his disposal. But it's not only about Tom matching him in size, it's also his speed and power. Tom Aspinall is a true heavyweight who moves like a welterweight. He goes in and out swiftly and strikes with surgical precision. Keeping Tom at bay would not work for Jones. And also, Jon doesn't have the one-punch knockout power to close the show with one shot against the Englishman. However, that's what Tom has at all times. He holds the shortest average fight time in UFC history, and once a clean shot from Tom lands on Jon's chin, it would mean GG, well played. So the only way Jon Jones could win this fight against Aspinall is if he utilizes his superior wrestling effectively. But the problem is, Tom is an elite grappler and a high-level BJJ black belt too. While many consider Aspinall a striker, let's not forget that he pulled off an amazing submission victory against the Russian Colossus, Alexander Volkov. Speaking of Volkov, he fought and beat Fabricio Werdum, who is arguably the best submission artist in the UFC's heavyweight division. And even he couldn't pull off what Tom Aspinall did to Volkov. Also, considering that Tom is huge, it would be hard for Jon to take him down, let alone hold and control him there. Even if that happens, Tom would get back to his feet immediately, where he would have a clear advantage in the stand-up exchanges. And that's where Jon Jones will find himself in trouble all the time. Every time they go toe-to-toe, there is the danger of him getting knocked out by the Englishman. The other factor is that Jon is getting old. At 37 years old, probably 38 when they fight, Bones won't be as good as he used to be, while Tom, on the other hand, is in his prime. And it's not only that. The thing is, every new generation of fighters tends to be better than the previous ones. The crossroads Jon Jones is facing right now is the same crossroads other GOATs before him had to confront. Anderson Silva was dominating everyone until a new generation fighter, Chris Weidman, arrived and dethroned him from the middleweight mountaintop. Alexander Volkanovski was untouchable for years at featherweight until Ilia Topuria arrived and showed him why you should never bring a knife to a gunfight. Jose Aldo and Fedor Emelianenko faced the same problems too. They couldn't surpass the new generation of fighters, who were always slightly better than the previous. And that's exactly the case with Jon Jones facing Tom Aspinall now. He will need to fight a new generational fighter who is faster, stronger, and more technical than any other opponent he has faced before. So, it all comes down to ego. Jon knows that if he loses against Aspinall, people would argue that he never fought someone who matched his size, and the first time he did, he got destroyed. That would tarnish his GOAT status, and Jon, an egotistical individual, is afraid to let that happen. Ultimately, we come to the question, how would a potential clash between Tom Aspinall and Jon Jones go? Standing and banging on the feet with Tom Aspinall can be as dangerous as playing Russian roulette. The moment the fight starts, Jon would study his opponent and probe Tom's defenses with side kicks and oblique kicks to the knee. He would have his arms extended and hope to keep the Englishman at bay at any cost, even if it means poking him in the eyes. But Tom is too fast and light-footed to be kept at a distance at all times. In the blink of an eye, he would charge forward with deadly speed and precision, and ultimately catch Jon Jones clean. In this scenario, he would either hurt Jon or make him feel his power. In any case, the American would be discouraged from keeping the fight standing and would try to work Tom from the clinch, but he would soon realize that now he is facing a real heavyweight and won't be able to muscle his foe down that easily. Considering Jon's versatility as a wrestler and the decent toolbox of takedowns he has from the clinch position, let's say he takes Tom Aspinall down. Even in that case, Tom's elite grappling credentials would keep him safe, and we can expect him to return to his feet immediately. And from there on, he would stay in the driver's seat and throw with ill intent, while Jon would need to defend from his punches as if his life depended on it. The only chance Jon would have to beat Aspinall is to put the Englishman on his back, as we haven't seen Tom fighting off his back often. However, that's easier said than done, and Aspinall would know that's the only scenario he must avoid at all costs. And whenever Jon fails to score a takedown, he would be met with hell on the feet, as Tom would charge forward and unleash ballistic missiles whenever they go toe-to-toe. Eventually, some of those missiles would most likely hurt Jon Jones. When you consider everything, Tom Aspinall is a nightmare matchup for Jon Jones, and the American knows that. The only way he would accept a high-stakes fight is if the UFC offers him a ridiculous amount, $30 million, which is possible, considering how much attention and money that fight would bring. At the end of the day, Jon Jones has found himself between a rock and a hard place, and is left with two options: vacate the belt or defend it. But one way or another, soon he will have to make a decision that will change his legacy and the future of the UFC's heavyweight division. And how do you think the fight between Tom and Jon would go, fight fans? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more MMA content like this.